Welcome to Austin Eras, where we explore Austin's transformation into a 21st century boomtown and the voices shaping its past, present, and future.
Welcome to the Austin Eras podcast. I'm your host, Adam Flagg, and I have a really interesting guest today. I can't wait to introduce you to. His name is AJ Bingham. He is the founder and CEO of the Bingham Group. It's an Austin-based municipal government affairs and land use consulting firm. So he moved to Austin at the age of 8 and carved out a unique space at the intersection of business, government, and civic life. That's what your career looks like today. But before he did that, he went to Wake Forest University, got an undergrad degree, and earned a law degree from Washburn University School of Law in Topeka, Kansas. Topeka, Kansas.
Midwest.
And he returned to Austin with two clear goals: become a lobbyist and get deeply involved in his hometown community. You've done both of those things and way more. A few more things about you. I think your professional journey spans over a decade of experience in legislative and regulatory advocacy. You represented clients from the startup space to Fortune 500. And as a civic leader, I can't even count how many boards you're on. I tried, and it's 4ATX is a great, we could talk Austin FC, Austin Trail of Lights Foundation, the Blanton Museum of Art, Long Center, Greater Austin Chamber of Commerce. You just told me the Hutto Chamber of Commerce.
Yes, shout out to Hutto.
And the Young Men's Business League of Austin in the past. You were the chair there, president. Austin Sunshine Camps, as well as many multiple city appointed commissions. Longtime host of his own podcast, the BG Podcast, 260 episodes plus.
Yes, which we are, I'll announce it in this show, resurrecting. We hadn't recorded since last January. I'm announcing here we're going to start recording again in February, so I keep myself accountable.
I like it.
So now it's on the record.
Breaking
so
news.
I have to do it.
Breaking news, 260 episodes now to be added to. He's interviewed elected officials, civic leaders about local policy. He's now entering the 9th year of running the Bingham Group.
Yeah, April 10th.
April 10th. He brings a candid perspective on Austin's growth, governance, and importance of relationship-driven leadership. He lives here in Central Austin with his fiance, soon-to-be wife.
We don't live together.
Okay, good call. Lives in Austin.
Kill me, yes.
She lives separately.
We'll be moving in right after we get married.
But you're going to get married here.
We're getting married, yes.
In a couple months.
April as well. But yeah, we do not live together.
I love it.
It's very important.
No, I love that. He enjoys driving fast cars. I've seen this on social media. I'm curious about that. Traveling, staying connected to the pulse of the city you call home. So actually, unplanned question.
All right.
What's the story on fast cars?
Yeah, well, I want to shout out Longhorn Racing Academy. And so I've been to a few of their events over the years. They're based in Kyle at a track called Harris Hill, but they also will rent time out at Circuit of Americas. And so I did it once or twice. You can buy 2 laps at COTA. Coming out of the pandemic, I was just thinking about like what kind of hobby do I want that's not working out, because that's not a hobby, or doing Spartan races or marathons. And I thought, okay, this is a hobby that getting good at driving sounds fun, and also it's one that it ain't cheap, so it keeps me accountable. If I want to do this hobby, I need to lobby well and keep my clients happy, and it's fun. I mean, you get out in there, that car. That company has a fleet of different kinds of cars, Lamborghinis, Porsche, Ferrari. But if you're distracted, the car lets you know. And so it's one of those places. It's kind of it's like my golf, where you're in the zone, right? You're in that car, you're driving fast. If you want to go do it well, your mind's blank except for what's happening right in the moment, which is for those of us who are entrepreneurs or just hustlers. There's always something on your mind. So it's nice. You're going fast, my mind gets quiet. I don't know how to put it that way. Yeah. I'm sure there's some...
Is it like the adrenaline? Is there a lot of adrenaline?
There's actually less adrenaline. I mean, I've put like my heart monitor on before and just recorded it. And I think when you're first doing it and learning those speeds, right? But then as you learn the car, and so I focused on the Porsche 911. Yeah. I don't have one yet. I use Longhorn Racing Academy's cars, but I always have the same instructor. And just the more you know the car, like any equipment, and you know the track, that's when it gets fun. Like my last time at COTA a few months ago, in the Porsche, I got to like 155 on the back end. I didn't look at the speed the whole time I was driving. They have USB recordings of you, right, and your speed for after you can look at for game film. So you see how fast you're going, but in the moment you're just doing your thing, and that's the fun part where you're just flowing, right? Yeah. In that flow state, and just how the car is going to react. How to brake hard. How to go fast. Go into a corner and out of it fast. Like anyone can go fast on a straightaway. It's going fast and straightaway, hitting the brakes hard, hitting that hairpin turn and coming out of it straighten the car out and go. I can talk about it all day.
No.
But that's fun.
I'm with you. I went to Illinois to visit my in-laws over Christmas. My brother-in-law Mike has like this racing simulator like seat with the like everything. I don't know if you do any of this like gaming outside of like the actual racing, but it's wild. I just thought I could just race around as fast as I could, like pole position or something like back in the day, like video game. This is not this.
No, the physics. I mean, there's a sim racing, independent sim racing shop, I think in North Austin. But there's a F1 has its own brand of these, and so there's one in Boston, Philly. I did in Boston, but it's fun, and like the physics of it. I drove in code on it, and it's a lot of fun.
So let's rewind. Let's go back to Austin. You grew up in Austin, spent majority of your childhood here.
Yeah, South Austin.
You left for nearly a decade before coming back. You had undergrad and grad for law. What did you notice changed the most from like early 2000s to more later 2000s when you came back to the city?
The skyline, for one, right? And I want to give a quick shout out. I went to Austin ISD schools. I graduated from LBJ Science Academy. Go Jags! The school is now called the Liberal Arts and Science Academy, but great program and foundational to my development as a young adult and professional. But the skyline. So we come back to that. When I come over for holidays, but definitely when I came back home permanently in 2008, it just changed, right? I mean, change is constant in our city, in our downtown. To this day, presently,
still
the skyline. You had the Frostbank Tower going up. Right after that, almost in that, you had the Austin 360 building, and so on and so on. It seems, barring little stops, has been constant again to present day.
Yeah. With
buildings, we know are coming online from SoCo, how that's changed. West 6th. I would say when I came back home, there was no West 6th was just becoming a thing. I mean, it wasn't even a thing actually then. It was everyone converged on East 6th Street.
Yeah.
Everyone.
Yeah.
Professionals, kids, everything else, out of towners. That was a time. You had the warehouse district, and may rest in peace and all that. So.
Yeah, West 6th had the Z Tejas and a few other things, and that was
Yeah. Do you remember like Vici or Qua?
Yeah.
Right? Like those were the first kind of bottle service things. Like, what is this bottle service thing? I remember hearing that just reading about that, like on Austin 360 as a senior in college, like bottle service, like, that's when Austin was becoming that kind of city.
Yeah, it's a different kind of city for sure when that happened. So
but more people, more just of everything. I think that's one of the fun things of the city, and one of the things I've told folks to this day is, like, Austin's been in its purity for a number of years, and the growth in a good way, in a growth sense, right? And it's, I think, in preparing for the show and thinking about it, from 15 years ago to now. It is just it's transient, but there is growth. Both professional, in terms of the businesses coming here.
Yeah.
And our skyline growing up, and we're growing out too.
It's everything. So you came here, 2008. You came back.
Yes.
What were some of the first things you did to get involved? Because the city at that time is different than it is today.
Yeah. Well, at the time, one was reading like different magazines. There was a lot more print, like social media was there. We had Facebook and whatnot, but definitely wasn't as mature and all the platforms they are now. So I just would read the local. There's, what was it called? It was not Austin 360. Glossy. It was Austin. It was an imprint. It was part of the Statesman's.
Yeah, I think
their
I remember
social
that. Yeah, I
calendar
remember
thing.
That.
Yeah. So I started reading all the different social magazines, just see these events going on, and one is I didn't grow up in that world. So what are these events? I remember the first time with the Headliners Club. And then you grew up here, like, what is this place? Like, huh? Like, and so I would start just going out, right? I would find just young professional meetups and go up myself and just try to make friends. And I think going to undergrad out of state and then going to law school out of state, in both environments, I had to make new friends. Kind of rebuild my social life, right? Help and prepare me for coming home, because it could be hard. It was challenging being from Austin. Technically, I was from Austin, but you come home and you're a stranger in your own city.
Yeah.
And it was. I mean, I can't lie. My first year was it just felt really hard. Like, it was just disconcerting. I was like, I don't know. I remember distinctly talking to myself, like, I don't know how to make friends here, which is wild now, right? But I don't know how you make friends here. I don't know how to be connected here. I remember going to a Austin Young Chamber event, and I remember walking in, and folks were clicked up, and
of course,
see this, Remember Ed Cargbo? Shout out to him.
Yeah.
Wake Forest Demon Deacon as well.
Yeah.
And everyone just knew people already. And I looked at this and like I just didn't see how I could break into this. Truly, right? Like I don't.
Yeah.
It just seemed like insurmountable. And then I reminded just got through that self kind of pity talk and said, look, no one comes to this city. I think really is just connected. It'll take time.
Yeah.
And it'll take not a long time, not a short time, but you're gonna have to just go out.
Keep showing up.
Keep showing up.
Yeah.
I used to set a clock. I set a timer. Like if I go to an event, I can go with you, but I'm gonna be there for an hour. I'm not leaving. I mean, Adam brought me this event, but I'm staying here, and I got to make it work, even if Adam's not here.
Yeah.
Because if I don't, then I'm always relying on a social crutch.
I'm with you.
You know, and that's the biggest thing. You know, come on, jumping ahead to had network in the city. You got to be willing to go out by yourself.
Yes.
And and go it alone. Your friends can be there, but like you're here to network and it's stick to that agenda.
Absolutely. So
nobody gets the wall. Like,
well, I think you grew up in an environment from Air Force background in your family where I assume you got comfortable with probably change at times.
Yes. Yeah. Thankfully, before coming to Austin, we were in Germany and I was, we were there for 5 years, so from I was 3 to 8. So as a child, I mean, that might as well be a life, not a lifetime, but a long time.
Yeah.
So it wasn't so much change in moving around, but definitely just making, having a diversity of friends. My mom made me go outside, and there was no tablets and whatnot. We had Nintendo or NES, but you had to go out there, and then even when we came back to the States, it wasn't just like. I have shy inclinations, right? Shy tendencies, surprisingly. But she always did a great job of pushing me out there. My dad would, he had just duties, right? So she did a good job of making sure if I ever felt like kind of wilting in a way, like, no, you're going to go outside, you're going to talk to those kids until you get, over your,
makes sense.
Anxieties, your fears about talking to people.
Real life training right there.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm glad your parents challenged you to do that. So you go and get a law degree in Topeka, Kansas, of all places. I point that out because Topeka is kind of in the middle of nowhere.
Oh yeah.
And so you go to Washburn, and you get there. You go through law school. When did you realize lobbying, not being a lawyer, was actually what you meant to be?
Yeah. Well, my last year of law school, my 3L year in the fall, going out that summer, I worked at a law firm and realized this wasn't for me. But I also didn't want to just waste 3 years of education, my money that I paid for it.
Yeah.
So I started investigating like what are the other areas that a law degree would make sense. In parallel, I was at a Black Law Student Conference and met some lobbyists coincidentally there, and realized, oh, this seems interesting. And I was a poli-sci major, but they don't really teach. I mean, I don't know, maybe it changed now. Lobbying isn't something that's taught in schools.
Yeah.
Really, right? Well, this is like a quick little paragraph about a lobbyist, but the business of lobbying and what it entails wasn't really known to me. So I started investigating it more, and then started just talking to people who did that job. And it was really, I think, the first time that I felt, okay, I could give me 20 years, I could be that person. And also, if money wasn't involved, this seems like a fun job for me to do.
Yeah.
Yeah. So overall, it aligned my personality. I read a book, and I can't remember the exact title, but basically it was alternate path, or what can you do with a JD? And the two career paths that stood out to me were being a lobbyist and being a talent agent.
Uh-huh.
And I think both fundamentally are about they're network driven. I think I'm good with people.
You got pushed, you learned young. Right?
Yeah, I think I'm good with people, but both those jobs were ones where obviously a law degree made sense, but the essence of the job came down to your ability to develop networks, and in a way that's a bigger strength than it is in the practice of law until you're a partner, which law school doesn't teach you how to network anyway.
Yeah.
So
let me dig deeper on the lobbyist thing, because just like my profession as financial advisor, lobbyists, sometimes in movies, sometimes different places, it's depicted negatively.
Yes.
Right? And there's negative connotations. So what do you wish more people understood about what being a lobbyist really is?
So one of the ways I kind of educate that, I've done it in a while, but I've done career days, right? So I've talked to students as young as 3rd grade to high school, in college and grad school too. Mm-hmm. I mean, the big thing, I think the misunderstanding of what influence is, right? It's not influence, it's the ability of you trust. The biggest thing a lobbyist has is that bridge of, I'm bringing council member Flag something, or whoever, or your staff or whatever else, that I'm not BSing you, right?
Yeah.
That it may not be something you want to hear, but I'm bringing it to you. I'm bringing you information that's useful, right? And then also it's just reputation. Half the thing with lobbyists is the biggest the way influence or trust developed is that you've been around long enough and haven't messed up really, right? Where people, okay, even I don't know Adam or AJ directly. I know he's established here by reputation. Other folks in the staff corridor know him. It's a good thing because ultimately people talk, right? And you got to realize you burn one office, it will get to their offices too.
Yeah. So what I'm taking from this is that lobbyists have to build a reputation. They have to follow through. They have to make things happen, whether it's right, whether it hits right or not. You're willing to deliver that message and help them understand what issues are ahead for them.
Yeah, like you may have a client that the issue isn't really popular, and so if I go to your office and say, Council Member Flag, it's great. There's no problem with this issue, and you say you rely on me because you trust me, and then you go before on the dais in a public meeting, and you're putting up some thing that that we've been working with you on, and you totally blindsided. That's not going to be good for me. If they're saying, look, here's the issue, here's who's against it, here's who's for it, and here's where we're at. So you're armed with what you need to know for that meeting, right? Yeah. And again, you can say, AJ, well, based on this, I can't take it up right now. Thank you. Or I can, and here's how I'll work on it, right? But I can't, there's no gun to your head. It's the best I can do is provide you as clear information as possible, built on trust, and then, you have to do what you will with that.
So you have meetings with public officials, you have meetings with governmental officials, as well as representing businesses and kind of hearing what they have. How do you kind of communicate or understand who's on what side of things and really how you can help provide more guidance to people that you talk to?
Yeah, I think that's the big value for lobby, like why clients hire us, right? Is to know I call it the sandbox, right? Your environment.
Yeah.
And that's something, how that happens, it's both time, it's being out even on in the community. It's just it's knowing the players, right? I mean, I don't know how to put it. It's you go to events, you meet people. From my view, you're constantly reading the news, other sources, social media, just who's what's doing what's going on, who's on the rise, who's on the fall. It all matters, right? And because at any given time, client calls you, hey, we need help on X issue.
Yeah.
And okay, who are the players in this space? And again, I always tell clients, I don't know everyone, no one knows everyone. But I know enough people in this market, in this city, in the metro, to get the questions answered they want, right?
Mm-hmm. That's great. Now, to change subject before we kind of jump into more of the present, I want to go back and rewind to 2008. We talked a little bit about how putting yourself out there, showing up to different events, but I want to position this for anyone listening that might be 25 years old in Austin going, hey, where do I get connected? What advice would you give someone that's coming to Austin that needs to get connected, kind of get their ear to the ground, learn things about the city? Mm-hmm. What are you telling them to do and how would they do it right?
So I want to preface it. I think it's it's easier in a way now because there's more accessibility to the, like LinkedIn was in its infancy when I came back to Austin. Social media, the tools to reach the people. I was reading like Trebeza and these other magazines, and seeing who was at what black tie event, who the name was. It wasn't, the directory of of the players in Austin wasn't really as accessible, I think, as it is now. But I think fundamentally what I would say is figure out what you want to do, right? And again, I didn't know what I wanted to do when I came home on the community side besides being involved. Mm-hmm. So it was figuring out your interests by just, try a few things and don't get overcommitted, don't overextend. I did that. It wasn't smart. I mean, it wasn't wise, but just figure out some things, try different things. Don't focus on joining a board, focus on, can you volunteer at an event? And just meet folks, right? Really, if I was coming to Austin, if I was doing this over again now, that my advice myself wouldn't change. Just you got to get out there and meet people and figure out what do you want to do? Are you just want to have fun, or are you trying to build a life here, professional career here? And you can have all those things, right? But certain friends maybe for certain things, other folks for certain things. But fundamentally, you got to start building out that you got to meet people and figure out who's who, right, and what's what.
Well, and one thing
and what do you want to do? And what do you want to do?
You told me there's kind of the prom committee of Civic Austin in a sense. I mean, there are certain people, a small circle of kind of recurring names and faces. Is that good? Is that bad? How do we make that circle more inclusive or more open?
So I think I call it the prom committee, and that every city has that, right? When it gets down to it, and that's just the folks who you see, who are, whatever those major boards and events are, black tie events are, and other civic activities are. It tends to be just it's what it is, right? It's like I call it the prom committee. It's like it could be like 200 people. Some of them are more involved than others, right? Like a nebula, but it's just the sector. And I think, I kind of came about it I've had people who've been helpful with me, right? But I also had a direction I wanted to go, and I just kind of was a self-starter in that way. So if I saw Adam was in the magazine for something, I'd find your email and email you. Right?
Would you?
Yeah.
You okay?
Yeah, because
All right.
ultimately, it's, okay, well, I couldn't get to you that way. Okay, where are you going to be at? And just, like, what do I, just figure it out, right? Or and not being afraid if I saw you at an event to say hello, get your card.
Yeah.
At the time when cards were more of a thing. And I think the big thing is the follow-up, right? Like, look, I'm thinking pretty established now, but that never ends, right? There are folks who I reach, I connect with at different events, and I follow up. They don't respond. The follow-up will always put you apart from most people, because most folks,
agreed.
The first time you don't answer, okay, it's whatever. You just keep following up. I mean, be respectful, but people are busy, and they might have their response to you in draft, which happens a lot.
Yeah.
And this didn't send it, right? But you gotta be persistent and follow up. And but yeah, I think just get out there. Don't try to be connected. Don't try to just go out there and meet people.
Yeah, I mean, you clearly are demonstrating to me that you had a plan all along. You knew what it was going to look like. 2026 is the 9th year of your firm. How has it changed in the 9 years since you started it? What does it look like today versus what it looked like when you started?
I think the expectations of what I wanted to be when I first started, like I didn't even have a desire. When I got into the lobbying business, my goal was just to go work, be a part of a firm, and become a senior or whatever. I had no desires to have my own business. So I remember when I first started, I didn't even know what 3 years of business would look like, and I didn't know what it would feel like, or just I was trying to. I jumped in the water in the deep end. I knew I could swim. I had an idea of I need to go out. I don't know how far I'm gonna go, but I'm just gonna start swimming. And it's changed, I think, my expectations of just what being in business means.
Yeah.
So when I first started, I knew I was a lobbyist. And I think where it's evolved in the last several years is seeing myself as a business owner apart from being a lobbyist, right? So, two hats in one. But I'm a lobbyist to serve my clients, but I'm an owner of a lobbying firm. And as a business owner, as you know, that's a different perspective and set of tools that's required. And it's been fun, particularly fun the last several years, developing my business skills more. And it's the lobby part I think I have down. I believe so. But everything else, right? The marketing, how you want to do financial forecasts, and developing those muscles. Because I didn't go to I don't have my MBA. My MBA has been the last 9 years of that, which I paid for.
Yeah, exactly. So you built one of the few Black-owned lobbying firms in Austin. So how do you think about representation in this space now?
Yeah, I believe the only one as far as I know.
Okay.
And I don't think about it objective. I mean, I don't think about it like daily, right? I mean, it just is what it is, right? I only wanted to compete. I've only ever wanted to compete to the best of my abilities and with my respected colleagues who have been in your show.
Yeah.
And it's more just kind of is what it is, right? Like that's how I look at it. I mean, I don't think my clients. I doubt my clients care, and it's never been an issue that way. But it is a fact. I am I am Black, and I lobby, and I look at it that way, and just don't let it. I think there are folks who, I don't lead with that, right? Because I don't have, it's just is.
Well, it's 2026,
Yeah.
and I feel like we've broken some of those barriers, but the fact is Austin was pretty racially segregated not that long ago.
Yeah, I mean,
it has changed significantly.
Yeah, I think, there's still, you think of 10-1, the 10-1 system did for the city, and so for guests who are familiar with that, 10-1, or just to rehash for folks who do know, 10-1 was the institution of a district system in the city of Austin governance for city council. Prior to that, up until 2015, it had been a at-large system, and we had this thing called the Gentleman's Agreement, which is,
wild.
2015. This was essentially, it was you had one guaranteed seat for one guaranteed Black seat and one guaranteed Mexican seat. And that had been going on since the 50s, 60s up until 2015, and 10-1 broke that, right? But look, growing up here, what's funny is like you just kind of this is your environment, right? The only time I really thought about Blackness, but it really hit home was when I went to Atlanta for the first time, and my first year of college, right? Which is a city that is very Black, And you're like, oh, this is in a good way. I was like, oh, I mean, it was one of those things of just, it's different. And, there's more of you.
Yeah.
And more of us,
yeah.
if you will. More of us. So, but, this is a city that I came back to, and I think it's one of your questions later on. This is a city that I wanted to come back to grow my career, my civic life, and, eventually my family. And it's been, and it's where I had a great childhood as well. So it's everything that that I've wanted, and as the city grows, I'm looking forward to continuing to be a part of it.
I think that's the continual theme I find is the guests that are giving back to this community, that are enjoying this community, there's no other option. They're like, Austin is where it's at. You've really settled in. You really have your roots here. You wouldn't have it any other way.
Yeah, and my fiance is from here too, so it's just
that's crazy.
Works out well, yeah.
2 natives.
Yes.
Well, I also want to talk about all the different things you're doing civically. You're on the Austin Chamber Board as of very recently. The Long Center is a really interesting one. You guys are doing some fascinating work there.
Yeah.
What keeps you saying yes to all these leadership roles? You're so involved.
Yeah, well, I look at it again. When I came home, there was no clear plan. I mean, the plan was, again, to become a lobbyist and be involved in the community. And I think those have been the community part has been more refined over the years in terms of my involvements, but those are still kind of the guiding deals. And so it was more saying yes to groups that I thought would be fun to get involved with, right? But also looking at the importance of that organization in the community. I'm actually not on the Long Center board anymore. There's a past board, but there was one that I love the symphony, opera, ballet, and it's a cultural institution.
Yeah,
I love what I know. You've had sort of one of my past fellow board members on there.
Who's that?
Nat Ho.
Oh, Nat Ho, of course, yeah.
Yeah. So in any event, what if you say yes is that I view it as part of what I do. Like I don't look at it as part of like an extracurricular. It's just part of more so as a lobbyist and as owning the firm is part of just what I do for business as well. Right.
Yeah, absolutely. So let's talk about business a little bit in terms of that podcast that you said, hey, it's coming back in February.
Yes, BG podcast.
The BG podcast. So you started that a long time ago, 260 episodes. How did that start? And also, what role has it played in your professional visibility?
Yeah, it was one of those morning shower ideas.
Uh-huh.
It hit me, I need to do a podcast, right? And I think the impetus was, there's a book I'd recommend for folks who are entrepreneurs called Blue Ocean Strategies. And the whole premise is you're looking for opportunities in a competitive environment where no one's operating at, which is a blue ocean. A red ocean is something where everyone's doing the same thing. So again, to give an example, if I'm going to take whoever black tie event you want in the city and every other lobbyist is there, is that the best use of my time? Maybe, right, from a civic giving standpoint. But if it's about standing out, I'm looking for opportunities where no other lobbyists at. And so I had the idea, started looking around, are there any other lobbyist podcasts in market in Austin? No. Then I started looking even nationally, and there were a few firms doing it, right? And so there was one podcast I found it's called The Political Life, that was a podcast for lobbyists, which I've been on. Shout out to Jim O'Brien out of Connecticut, but I've been on his show a few times. And again, so point is, there was plenty of space to do it. And again, the fundamental purpose, kind of on the career part of how does it impact my business? It's every lobbyist should say they're connected and know people. But if Adam Flagg over here doesn't know AJ from Adam, how do I demonstrate that beyond you take my word for it? And so it serves a purpose. It was a way for me to meet people in a way we're talking about themselves, and also end of the day, 260 episodes in, if you're looking me up, those episodes are online, and that more than anything underscores who I know, right? Because they took that person, took that official, that leader, took their time to be on my show, and we had a conversation, and it's not, it is what it is. I spoke with this person, and I have a documented conversation with them.
So if someone's going to tune in the BG podcast as you relaunch this, what kind of topics are they going to hear about? Is it Austin centric? Is it about lobbying? Where are we going to kind of cross over?
I'm going to be focusing more on Austin will be a part of that, but focusing more broadly on the region, on Central Texas, and within that, still sticking to the format of having civic leaders, business leaders, and the like on the show.
Excellent.
Yeah.
All right. We're gonna go to break. Hopefully you're enjoying this conversation with AJ Bingham. Be sure to follow and subscribe to the Austin Eras podcast on your favorite app, and we'll be right back with our favorite segment, the Good Hang segment.
In every episode of Austin Eras, we uncover the city's history, vibrant present, and bold future. Just like Austin, your financial journey is a story worth crafting. At Collective Advisors, led by Adam Flagg, Managing Partner, Senior Wealth Advisor, and Certified Financial Planner Professional, your story is in skilled hands. From investments to retirement planning, Adam and his team bring together a collective of dependable professionals to help you build, maintain, and enjoy financial security. Start your financial legacy today at collectiveadvisors.com or call 512-467-1923. Investment advisory services offered through CWM LLC, an SEC-registered investment advisor.
Welcome back to the Austin Eras podcast. I'm your host, Adam Flagg, and I have our guest, AJ Bingham, the founder and CEO of the Bingham Group here in Austin. They are a municipal government affairs and land use consulting firm. He's a lobbyist. AJ and I go back probably to 2008.
Yeah, we had a hairline.
You know, we lose a little hair.
Grays. No, you held on, man. I just gave up and I got grays. So.
But you got the beard now.
Yes.
So yeah, I mean,
my fiance's idea. So
yeah. She likes it.
I cut the gray. I want to keep all the grays off. So shit, I yield to her.
I think it works.
Yeah.
I think it works. So we go back a while. I think back to the YMBL Sunshine Camp days.
Mm-hmm.
You were president of the Young Men's Business League somewhere early 2012?
2019.
19? Okay.
Yes. It was before the pandemic.
Okay. That's a challenge for any organization.
Yeah.
So you were there right before the pandemic, but they're thriving.
Yeah. And Sunshine Camps. Shout out to Erica Blue, who just celebrated her 5th anniversary. It was like 9 anniversary.
I think it was 9.
I was on her interviewing committee for that role. So whatever it was, shout out to her. I saw it on LinkedIn last night.
Yeah, she was a previous guest.
Shout out to her.
She's been great, and they're really doing a good job raising money. Mm-hmm. And I have heard, rumor mill, I think it's real, that they're going to be opening another camp soon.
Oh, great! Yeah.
So I don't know if I'm breaking news here. So hopefully not. So we're going to jump in the Good Hang segment and talk a little bit about you, who you are as a person, both professionally as well as personally. So here's one. What's a weird or quirky Austrian tradition that you hope never dies?
Well, I don't know if it's weird or quirky, but I love the Austin Trail of Lights.
Oh, yeah?
Right? I mean, it's one of the few events that I can think of since I've been in Austin, 35 years, that it still remained very much Austin. I mean, it's changed in the sense of, it's a foundation who's running it now, which I'm on the board, disclosure, I'm the president of that foundation.
Yeah.
But, did you go this year?
I didn't go this year, but I think I went the year before.
You go, that's one of the few events that you could, someone who's, if you were born here in the 80s, you can it ties you to future generations, right, and backwards, right? And I can't think of a lot of events like that for the price, too, which is, it stayed very, very affordable that are like that in Austin, right?
So for someone that's never been, what do they experience if they go to Trail of Lights, for those that are listening?
Well, hopefully cooler weather. We can always help that. Sometimes it might be a nice, holiday, 75 degrees outside. But, you have, it's on the same footprint where we have ACL Fest. I think it's just seeing, for me, the fun part is seeing all parts of Austin out there, right?
Yeah.
You have little kids, families, teenagers, adults, grandparents, and so on. And it is what it is. It's a trail of lights. It various holiday activations. Some that have been there since I was a child, and we get some new ones as well.
Yeah.
But it's just, and it's obviously it's more festive when it is nice and brisk outside. But it's a great time to see all parts of Austin out and families. And I can't think of any other events in Austin like that have that kind of history.
Yeah.
Right. That as our city continues to grow and all these new things come here, which are great. I mean, a city's either growing or it's dying slowly or fast. These traditions to me really bind us and really kind of tell a story of who Austin is.
Yeah, I think there's more cultural traditions in Austin than a lot of other cities. We may lack, like we just had Adam Powell from the Austin History Center.
Oh yes.
Like we talked about how there's maybe a lack of like a museum district, but we have a whole lot of other things that maybe aren't necessarily a touristy get on a red bus and point at something.
Yes.
But those traditions are really special. So one of the traditions we have on this podcast is talk about music. Whether it's an album or an artist, whether they're from Austin or from somewhere else, what kind of reminds you of Austin when you hear it?
There's a song, the artist is named Mobley.
Yeah, Mobley.
And my favorite songs of his is Solo, right? And this is like my 20s, late 20s and early 30s, but I'm a fan of his.
Mobley's a fan of ours too. He's a follower on Instagram, social media, so maybe you'll see this Mobley. We hope you do. If you had a guest visiting Austin for 36 hours, where would you take them?
I saw this earlier, man. I'm a homebody too at this point. So like,
you're like, we're going nowhere. Someone visits.
Yeah, where would I go? Where would I want to show them? And there's so much. I mean, I'd like to take them to an Austin FC game.
Yeah.
Like if all these events were happening in one day, and like that seasonal, we'll love to take them to Trail of Lights, Austin Trail of Lights. Love to take them to Austin FC game. I love to take them just around. Where else? Probably Town Lake, Mount Benel. I want to see, Mount Benel to kind of see what our kind of that lookout point, kind of a traditional spot. Like I think things I haven't been to in years that are very Austin-y.
If you could have dinner with any Austinite, living or dead, who would it be and why?
I think it would be Pike Powers. Who just got honored at Waterloo Greenway, I believe, Pike Powers Boulevard. But he was a major force in what Austin has become today, right? In the business community and the civic community in the 80s and 90s. And so never got a chance to meet him before he passed, but I think I'd love to pick his brain and to see what motivated him and drove him in being a real key driver in Austin's modern economy.
Yeah, he passed away maybe 7 to 10 years ago, something like that. Great guy. I get to meet him a few times. Amazing guy. Yeah, that would be fun. Okay, I like that one.
Who's some story? Some where the bodies are buried stories too. I'm sure he has them.
I'm sure he has them. And I think there's a few others from that time that may suffice if you can't have dinner with Mike. There's a few others.
That's true.
Who's a current leader in Austin you admire and think more people should know?
I admire Gary Farmer. I think he's one of those folks. I mean, I don't think he really broadcasts himself out there. If you know him, you know him.
Yeah.
Right. But I believe he's the founder of Opportunity Austin, a major force, and we're in Austin's modern economy, and for the last 20 years, and so our paths have crossed, but I don't think I've spoken with him directly or kind of one-on-one. And so but he's someone who I definitely admire.
I mean, he founded Heritage Title as well, too. So he's got the regular day job plus Opportunity Austin, and I think he's less involved in that now. But it's a big vision. They just changed CEOs. I don't know if you saw that.
I did, yeah.
So Ed Lasson stepped away.
Yeah. He's a local. He's an Austinite. I think he went to McCallum, but
okay.
I was on the Hutter Chamber Board meeting today, and Susan Davenport presented to us. So shout out to her and wish her well and the team, and it should be productive 2026.
I hope so. So you said that you like to spend time on the couch. What are some other things you like to do to decompress when you're in around Austin? Just trying to relax.
Yeah, I do early morning runs, right? So I'm an early riser, so I like getting out downtown like 5:30 or 6 in the morning when no one's out and doing a loop through the city, definitely on the South Shore, seeing the city, the skyline from that part of town, right? It gets the hustle juices moving, I found too.
So you're running around the city in the mornings. So this next question is perfect. What's the most Austin thing you've ever witnessed? Because I'm sure you've witnessed some.
Again, I can't comment on that. I won't. I've seen my fair share. I mean, you think about like from going out in high school on 6th Street to there have been a lot of great Austin moments that just remain in my mind, and it's great.
I love it.
A nice little smile. I'm 70. So,
we talked a little bit about Matt Curtis being on the podcast a few sessions ago. Matt's great. He's always talking a lot about the vision kind of for the future of Austin. You described the need for younger leaders to keep kind of moving up in this space, and one of his comments was around that. What does that look like for you at this point in this journey, whether it's you moving up and doing different things within the city, as well as where you want other young people to get involved and where you see that opportunity?
Yeah, on the first part, I think I'm on the right track, right?
Yeah.
I mean, you self-assess like where do you want to go? I think it's gotten more refined over the years, and as I've matured more in business, and there are some opportunities that I want to exercise as I get Bingham Group where I want to be in the next 5 to 10 years.
Yeah,
but I'm having fun, so I think it's more, I say, moving up, right? Saying, okay, like especially on some of our younger professional boards, like don't let that be the last thing you do, right? And I came up with a lot of great people who have all this potential, and everyone has their own path ultimately, right? But there is a need, as Matt I think mentioned on his episode too. There are shoes to fill and seats to fill, and now being on some of these adult boards. There isn't like a lack. It's not like people aren't looking, right? It's more people are also busy, right? So if that person isn't looking for you, it's not that they're not trying to reach out. It's just they didn't know you exist, and so make them know you exist, right?
Yeah.
Reach out to them, let them know, hey, Adam, Congratulations on being being appointed chair of X organization. My name's AJ Bingham. I'd love to talk to you about learn more about your role, how you became in that seat, and also the opportunities to get involved in the organization. Because one thing that'll always be needed from all different groups is volunteers.
Yeah.
Right.
Absolutely.
Go volunteer at U40. Austin Under 40 Awards. Volunteer. One, you'll meet other volunteers. You meet people who are similarly aligned and wanting to get involved.
Yeah.
That's why I joined YMBL, right? I was looking for Young Men's Business League, or Young Women's Alliance too, or Austin Chamber of Commerce, right? Finding people who have the same mindset, generally about their way to their careers, was the big definer for me. And there's still adjustments in there, but finding folks who, if we don't get along all the time, we're all trying to move forward our careers. So what we're going to do.
So you mentioned a second ago about where you want to take the Bingham Group in the next 5-10 years. What does that look like? What does the future look like for your company?
I mean, I want us to be the most preeminent and strongest local lobbying firm in the market in Central Texas, right? Mm-hmm. To be frank, and it's I wouldn't say it's a big, hairy, audacious goal, but it's definitely a big goal. I think it can be achievable, and that's where I'm aiming for. And it's not an overnight thing. That's a decade or more, but that's where I'm aiming for, because you got to aim for something, right? You can't just I want to be in business to be in business. Like, I want to be the best. I want a lot, and I want to achieve it.
So another thing kind of tied to the young leaders and moving up is around mentorship. And mentorship is not something that I think probably shows up real well in Austin. There are sometimes an event or two, but I don't see a lot of extended mentorship. What's your strategy for changing that? How can you or I or others help in the community?
I try to be accessible, right? So if someone, I've been at events where I had young students at UT reach out to me, and I'll get, we have a talk, I'll give them my card, and I expect the follow up, right? I mean, you follow with me, and I will make time, because I remember what it was like to be. I remember how meaningful it was when someone who was established gave you their time, right?
Yes.
Even if it was 5 minutes, and how valuable it was, right? And so I made a promise to myself that whenever that was, I've gotten that role. I don't feel that way. I still feel that way today, but I got in that role that you reach out to me. It may not be in today, but I'll find time because you reached out, and I know what that's like, and I never want to forget what that's like. I think the people that do, they're doing themselves a disservice, right? Because everyone, well, not everyone, but a lot of people had to start off not knowing anyone, and that they reach out to you, you can, give them some time.
Set aside the time and the cost of whatever that is in your business, and know that you're doing something.
Yeah,
for
use it.
we're not.
Most people aren't that busy, right? You can figure it out. Hey, I can't. Well, hey, let's meet on a Saturday. Let's talk on Saturday. I've had calls on Saturday, on Sunday, and that's when you figure out if someone's serious or not too. It's just, when can you make the time? If it's what I can do it this time. If that works for you, and let's go.
So, as plugged in as you are in Austin, you see a lot of things both behind the scenes as well as what you see publicly. What's an issue facing Austin in the next 10 years that most people just aren't paying attention to that we should?
Yeah, I don't think that. The growth, affordability. I think the issues I don't think there's many issues that aren't on people's minds, right? Public safety, affordability, housing, right?
Yeah.
Maybe one that's invisible, but probably maybe water infrastructure, overall high level infrastructure. Within that, though, grid resiliency, water. We know after Winter Storm Uri, that's fresh in a lot of our minds to this day. Whenever we have a bad storm, especially around this time of year, right? But I think those issues are top of mind when it's a freezing rains coming through, not when it's bright and sunny in the middle of January, right? But those are looming issues. So I think infrastructure overall is something that is a looming concern that's probably not on folks' minds in the day-to-day, because they're trying to figure out how to pay bills, how to afford homes, how to keep their kids safe, and get them to school and everything else.
Yeah, it feels like the state legislature at least addressed some of those things this last session in 2025, but it never feels like enough. Whether it's roads, water, infrastructure.
Our city and our state are growing.
Yeah.
Every day, right? I think I forgot the statistics, but several of the chambers have done presentations on this. Our metro area, our MSA, our 5-county area, by 2050 is like 5 million people, right? And that's a lot of homes, which was a lot of water, a lot of power, and everything else. And so, it's a gift and a curse. I think the challenges of the day is how do we navigate what we know is coming with this growth as a region. 'Cause some of these issues can be handled by cities or counties, right? It has to be handled at a regional level and tackled that way.
I think it's really smart too that you're not just focused on Austin issues, but Central Texas, that Central Texas area, because it's all kind of one. And there's some groups that work together, other groups that need people to be able to interface between them.
Yeah.
And I'm assuming that will continue to be your role in some of
And there'll be
this.
challenges with that too, right? Because it's regional until it comes down to where that company is going to be based at, and then
Then it's
so
all
it's all
knives out,
I think
yeah.
it's figuring out that'll always be a thing, right? It's just figuring out where can we coalesce as a region around these issues, and how with a voice and a vision, unified vision, how we tackle them.
So what about you? What do you want your civic legacy to be in Austin? You've done so many things. You'll continue to do things, I'm sure. How would you want people to remember what you've done with the Bingham Group when it's all said and done?
Ultimately, I think with the firm, I'm less concerned about that. I mean, that's business success. What about on the civic side? I don't know yet, but more than I've done now, right? And so, again, I admire Gary Farmer, I admire Pike Powers, I admire Pete Winstead, and rest in peace too. And gentlemen like that are folks who, I aspire to make my mark in similar fashions. What that's going to be, ultimately depends on the era we're in now, or I will be in my, 50s, 60s, and so on, right? But that's the fun part. But I think it's just staying the course where I'm at now, keeping my mind or my eyes open to opportunities that come my way, and also things I see and want to pursue, and let that. It's almost like kind of what got me here, and that it can still get me there too, right? Stay focused on is this, and I mean, the 15 years I've been back home, I've gotten better at listening, at discerning and listening to the voice about what's what's the thing I should be pursuing or not pursuing. So more focused, hopefully yields results.
I mean, this is a big year of milestones for you. I'm excited for you. I think your future looks very bright. 9 years at the Bingham Group. You're getting married this spring. You've got a lot going on.
And moving in after we get married.
Moving in, yes. Eventually moving in. So thank you again for being here on the Austin Eras podcast. Thank you to everyone for listening. Follow or subscribe to Austin Eras on any of the social media channels everywhere that you go. And check out more about AJ and the Bingham Group at binghamgp.com. If you have a guest idea, drop us a line at adam@austineras.com or mel@austineras.com. See you next time. Thanks again for tuning into the Austin Eras podcast, AJ Bingham.
Thank you.
Austin Eras, featuring Adam Flagg, is brought to you by Collective Advisors. Collective Advisors offers investment advisory services through CWM LLC, an SEC-registered investment advisor. Guests on Austin Eras are not affiliates of CWM LLC, and opinions expressed by guests may not reflect those of CWM LLC. This show is intended for educational and entertainment purposes and is not intended to provide specific legal, tax, or other professional advice. For a comprehensive review of your personal situation, always consult with a qualified professional.